Have you ever looked back on a performance or a concert and started thinking to yourself, I'm just not very good at that particular side of the music experience, that concert experience. And honestly, I don't even enjoy doing those kind of things. But yet, in every concert, we go back to those same things and we repeat them again and again. We have the same frustrations and we have the same issues and we have the same review and the same thoughts. And it's just a cycle that just keeps going. Hi, I'm Jeff Price. And this is Intentional Musicianship, where we talk about everything that leads to center stage, whether it be your storytelling, your showmanship, your performance practice, and all points in between. So today, I wanted to bridge off of the last episode when we talked about return on investment and expected value. And we want to look at why we do the things we do and how sometimes the best decision isn't to do more, is to do less, or to hand things off to someone who can do them better. Let me explain. I go to a lot of concerts, and every year it seems like I go to the same ensembles. I go and I support great educators and great performers in our local area. Now, I tell you what, the music is strong. It keeps getting stronger. The ensembles sound really great. But then you get into the talking, and the educator steps up to the mic, and the show just sort of falls flat. Or maybe people go up to the microphone and the sound just isn't effective. And you can feel it in the room. The music soars, but all of a sudden in the middle of all this, the message stops. It stops cold right at the edge of the stage because that performer, they mean well, but they're just not connecting, or maybe the equipment just doesn't work, or there's a malfunction. As these things happen, these performers are like deers in a headlight, and they're digging harder instead of changing their tool. And that's not a criticism. It's a reality for all of us. We get so used to doing everything ourselves that we forget that just because we can doesn't mean we should. If public speaking isn't our strength, we need to figure out how to bring in someone who is, or identify those people in our groups that can do it better. If marketing drains our energy, we need to find someone else that can do it, that loves to do it. Now, you might think this is giving away control. You're not. You're giving your audience a better experience. And in the end, you might actually be nurturing others to be their best. So in the end, being aware of what adds value to your performance is important. And we also have to understand what quietly takes it away. Now, about this time, you might be thinking to yourself that I get what you're saying, but we're a new program, or we're growing. We've only had a little bit of time. I don't have a budget to outsource that. And I get that. That's fair. Time is something that we all have to deal with. Money is a finite resource, but it doesn't mean that we're spending big money. It doesn't mean that we're spending a large amount of time. We have to figure out how we might dedicate these small incremental improvements in areas that matter most. So maybe we might have to take a class and teach stage presence or communication. We might get a theater teacher involved to coach our group on transitions. We might simply record our concert intros and listen as if we were the audience, and then we can adjust and adapt and be a little bit better the next time. Improvement doesn't have to be overnight. It just has to be intentional. And we do notice. Over years of concert going, we notice. And here's what I've noticed over the years. Many ensembles continually improve their musical product. They get tighter. People rotate in and out. They really work on the balance and the blend. They become more confident over time. But there are things, depending on that strength of that educator, that performer, might not be a lot in the lighting or in sound or in that communication on stage. Those things just don't improve, and they can stagnate things. And we audiences, we tolerate all that stuff, but it does become a drain over time. Even if they can't name it, they feel it. So before your next performance, and as you're getting ready for your next show, I'd ask you to just take a few minutes to reflect and ask yourself a few things. What part of your presentation consistently falls a little flatter than the rest? And when you review it, are you pretending to gloss over it and sort of not see it? It's like that part doesn't happen. That's not what's really important to you personally as a performer or an educator. Then ask yourself who around you, either within your ensemble, in your little area of influence in your department, or in your community, could help strengthen and fill those gaps. Now, the question to ask is, are you giving them the opportunity to help? Maybe it's your assistant. Maybe it's someone that you contract out from the local community that you know is going to, serve with excellence. Now, the third thing, what non-musical element could you improve during this performance? Maybe it's the speaking, the pacing of the show. Maybe it's some visuals. Maybe it's just the program. Now, if the cost or the time is tight to make this change, what could you make right now that would help move the needle in a positive direction so that when you review it, you would say, we've made improvements in this area. Now, each of these small steps builds your performance return on investment. I get it. It might not be quite at dollars or ticket sales at first, but it'll help your connection, your reputation, and your growth. Because in the end, the musicians who grow the most aren't the ones who do it all. They're the ones who know what to do next. I'm curious to hear from each and every one of you about the things that you do to make your concerts be more effective. What things have you learned to let go of in your concerts or creative work? And what are those non-negotiable, the things you'll never hand off because they define who you are as a performer or an educator? I'd love to hear your stories, and you can always connect with us at intentionalmusicianship.com. Thanks for listening to us, and I hope you'll join us on the next episode of Intentional Musicianship.